Borne. You know, I could sit here all day and I could tear up and I could tell you Matt held this title and Matt held this title and Matt did this and he worked here, but you already know that. So I'm just going to tell you about my relationship with Matt, and I'm going to keep it together as best as I can. I met Matt in 2010. He came down to work for me. He worked with the man that's going to be up here with me in a few minutes, Matt Riviera. And Matt came down here, and he didn't just work for me. He went to breakfast with me. He went to lunch with me. The night after my show, we did 300 people here in Fort Worth. Thanks to Matt. I had a birthday celebration. He went to a bar with me and hung out with me till 2 o'clock in the morning. The guy is a bull shark. He took on everybody and destroyed them. But he treated everybody in my organization like they had been up and down the road with him for 20 years. He was here last year, and him and Stan Hansen got together, and it was like 2 kids. And after the Hall of Fame, he texted me, he goes, "Thank you so much, that was so cool seeing Stan again." He made a really big deal about that. And, you know, I'm going to say something before I bring Matt up after I'm done talking about Matt Borne. And this kind of ties into it. My father had to have quadruple bypass surgery in June. And this is where it gets tough. The day that my father went in for surgery, he had 90% blockage in his heart. Matt emailed me on Facebook on Wednesday and said, "How's your dad?" And I said, "He's doing all right, thank you for asking." And on Thursday, I emailed him back and I said, "Hey, we're doing the Hall of Fame and you're going to talk about devastation, right?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll be there." And then Friday, I got the news that he had passed away. So the last conversation that Matt and me had via Facebook, I still got the message on my phone and it'll never leave. He was asking me about my father. So, you know, this day is very special for me because, Dad, stand up. My dad's here after having that quadruple bypass. And my wife and my son. My wife went through hell, 13, 14-hour labor operation. My son's here. Tammy, stand up, please. Stand up and look. So, you know, Matt meant the world to me. He was a friend. I'm proud to call him a friend, and he always treated me right. So I'm just honored he was here last year. So, but at this time, we're going to re-induct Matt Borne into the Hall of Fame because his family's here. And to help me do that is a man by the name of Matt Riviera. He's the current IHWE heavyweight champion, and he is the founder, entrepreneur of Traditional Championship Wrestling out of Arkansas. Matt Riviera.
Thank you, David, for having me. You know, I was really close with Matt Borne. He was a guy that I had a connection with that went far past professional wrestling and went into life itself. Matt was truly a unique individual. He was a tremendous performer, and just so I didn't forget anything, I wrote something last night in the hotel room. So I'm just going to read that now. Like I said, I mean this with the utmost respect. I think Borne was a true asset to the wrestling business. To some, Matt Borne was a member of the Rat Pack. To my childhood best friend, he was Big Josh. To many, he was Joint, but I always remember Matt as a friend, a consummate performer, and my big brother. I first truly began to appreciate Borne's ability by watching YouTube videos of Matt as the heel Doink character. I would take my cell phone and I'd put it on the elliptical whenever I would go to the gym, and I would watch Doink obliviate opponent after opponent after opponent and watch a true master at work. He always put 100% into whatever it was he was doing, and the Doink gimmick was no different. To some, the Doink gimmick was a joke, but to Matt and those who truly get it, it was no joke. Borne would steal the show week in and week out while working for the WWE. Borne was a legitimate tough guy. I remember seeing a video where he faced Typhoon at WWE, and he literally didn't let Typhoon get in one move on him, and I thought that was great. I first got hooked up with Borne. For those of you who don't know, Stephen Jones Dexter Hardaway, we go way, way back. Myself and David started really young. I was 17 years old. I promoted my first show, and I called Stephen, and I was actually marked for Dexter because I used to see his name in the PWI magazines. And Stephen would tell me, hey man, you got some interest in Matt Borne, you get Borne in. And so it worked out, and I got to bring him in. Borne was a total pro from day one, and we became fast friends talking about wrestling, conspiracy theories, religion, and pretty much everything under the sun. We truly connected on a level that far surpassed the wrestling business. In all of our conversations, his favorite topic was without question his family. He would always refer to me as Matthew, and always reminded me that Matthew was his son's name. When I brought Matt in, I ordered a pair of clown shoes, and I remember when I called and booked him, and the first time I brought him in, I said, Matt, if we're going to do this, I said, I want to go all the way with it, so I want to get all the doink stuff, I want to get this. So I went into my office, I told my secretary, I said, I need clown shoes, a green wig, and a white mask. And don't ask any more questions. So we ordered these shoes. I mean, these shoes were like this big, right? Multicolored shoes. So we're at the show. Dexter was probably there with me. And so I showed Matt, I said, hey man, I bought these shoes for you. You can use them for promos, pictures, or whatever. Well, Matt, his eyes lit up. He was just like a kid in a candy store. He said, hey, I can wrestle in these. I can wrestle in these shoes. I said, really? So, well, you know, knock yourself out. They're yours, you know. So that night, Matt got in the ring. And I remember he got up on the top rope to do the whoopee cushion, the bombs away, which coincidentally no one does it now because I don't think anybody can truly do it as good as like Matt did. That tells you how good he was. And I remember he went up to the top rope and he started kind of wobbling back and forth, and I thought he was going to fall all the way backwards and hit the concrete floor. And then he got his footing and came off and hit it perfect. And this day I don't know if he was working me or if he, you know, he really almost lost his balance. Then the shows after that, Matt showed up, and each time he was in better shape. He was a tremendous performer, and I remember that second show, he climbed up that top rope and he hit that bombs away. It was like he had never missed a step. He just, it was phenomenal. But he moved, I mean, talking about the clown shoes, you know, when he was in WWE, he just had regular boots, and he told me a story that when he first debuted, he had a pair of clown shoes like that. And that Pat Patterson allowed him to wrestle him in the first match, but he couldn't hardly move. So like if he reversed an Irish whip, it was a big galloping motion. And so Matt talked about that. He wanted to use the clown shoes the whole time, but anyway, they ended up just doing the wrestling boots because he would meet with Vince McMahon on a regular basis to help develop this gimmick and take it to another level. Borne had a tremendous work ethic. No one can ever accuse Borne of being lazy. When he left wrestling, he actually entered into the sand and gravel business as a loader operator, which is another bizarre correlation with Matt and I, is my family's in the sand and gravel business. Borne couldn't understand lazy people and went as far to say that if you don't work hard, how can you truly appreciate being able to relax? And that's truly one of the sayings that I keep with me every day. Borne was a true asset not only to the wrestling business but life. He took great pride in his in-ring work and had no tolerance for lazy workers that were phoning in. He taught me that some days you want to throw your boots in the trash, but you always end up putting them back on and moving forward because once you're in the wrestling business, you're never going to get out of it. Borne was a born-again Christian, and I find peace knowing that he is in heaven right now with his Father, probably chasing Moses around with a clown hammer. I'm looking forward to reuniting him one day for eternity. To the Borne family, remember that a lot of people love Matt, and you will again see him one day. Thank you. And as soon as we got the news that Borne passed away, I called my good friend Jim Storm, and we were in shock, shared some weird words. He mentored the Storm as well. And I called my producer, and we put this little video package together in tribute to Borne. So with great respect, we'd like to present that now. Thank you.
fear the clowns.
At this time, we would like to bring up Matt Borne's family, his daughter Tegan, his son Matthew, and their mother Michelle. Please come up.
You all most likely know Matt Wade Osborne as a friend, the original Doink the Clown, maniac Matt Borne, or maybe even just an acquaintance. But to me, he was my father. One who kept me safe, the one who I called when I didn't feel good, and the one who scared everyone away when he picked me up from elementary school screaming, "That's my girl!" Yes, my dad looked like a crazy maniac on the outside, but he was like a loving teddy bear on the inside. Even though he did foam out the mouth sometimes, he wouldn't hurt a fly, unless the fly deserved a knuckle sandwich, as my dad would say. Everyone knew different sides of my father. Unfortunately, my mother knew all. Just kidding. Luckily, my brother and I got to know the dad side of him. My dad was an amazing father. Yes, he had his moments, but who doesn't? My dad and I were so much alike, we butted heads way too often. I regret some things that happened between him and I, but I know he forgives me and I forgive him. God was my dad so impatient and clumsy. Everywhere we went, something would break, or he'd be fighting with someone because they didn't let him cross the street when the do not cross signal was lit up. I give my brother Michelle James so much credit. She has been by me and my brother Matthew's side since June 28, 2013. She has seen her 2 kids hurt, and she can't take away the pain. You are the strongest woman I know, and the most beautiful. I love you, Mom. Can I have a round of applause for my mom, please? Now for my brother Matthew. I know we fight a lot, but Dad wouldn't want us to fight. He would want his boy and his little girl to get along. I know you lost your best friend, Matthew, and I know I will never replace Dad's position. Nobody will. But I'm the closest thing you have to Dad, and I don't want to keep fighting you. I love you, Matthew, and thanks for making me laugh and being protective over me when you weren't trying to beat me up. My father was inspirational and an amazing wrestler to many people. He died so unexpected, and at such a young age. After his death, it taught me to live life to the fullest, never be anything less than happy, and never take anything for granted. Nobody will ever replace you, Matthew Wade Osborne, on this earth, and nobody will replace him as my father. Hey, Dad. Mom, Matthew, me, and everyone in this room miss you and love you so much. I will always be your little girl. Look down on us and rest in peace. You will never be forgotten.
Thank you.
Cage match, bomb wire, ring set on fire, sleeper.